Hello, this is Steven, the calculator guy, and today we're talking about Fantom. This is going to be an introductory video to the Fantom blockchain, and by the end of this video, my goal is for you to understand how to get funds onto Fantom easily, quickly, successfully, consistently, and also to have a good enough understanding of the chain so that when you get funds onto the chain, you can navigate it intelligibly and competently. And you'll be able to do the things that you want to do with the robust financial tools available on the chain. So Fantom is an L1 EVM. If you don't know what that means, it doesn't really matter. It just means it's like a kind of a copy of Ethereum with scalability solutions, and it's super modular and it has cheaper gas, so people kind of like it for that. That's the basics. So if you want to get onto the Fantom chain, you probably need to add Fantom to your wallet first. So that's what we're going to do, the very bare bones basics. So you can go to any Fantom protocol and it'll ask you to add the Fantom Opera network to your MetaMask. That's what we're going to do first. Let's just sort of pick one at random. Let's go to Taro. If we go to Taro, it looks like my connection is failing to connect my wallet. We'll have MetaMask pop up and ask me something like, well, okay, so HectorDAO is already trying to do this. It says, allow this site to add a network, the Fantom Opera network. Well, yes, I will gladly allow this site or any site to add the Fantom mainnet network to my MetaMask. So I'll click approve, and then I'll click switch network. And what you'll notice is now I'm on the Fantom mainnet, and all my Fantom gas is there. And now I can connect to different protocols on the Fantom network. Wonderful. Okay. Onboarding funds onto the Fantom network. You can do it with centralized exchanges. However, this is semi-inconsistent because last week and times before, when people have been really interested in Fantom, it has happened that these exchanges, these centralized exchanges, had run out of Fantom to offboard. Bless you. Which means that even though you had Fantom on the exchange, you weren't allowed to take it off the exchange. This is why centralized exchanges don't really offer you ownership of your goods and assets. It's sort of a different conversation, but with DeFi and decentralized exchanges, you always own your own assets. No one else is holding them. No one else can confiscate them. They're your assets. You hold them. You own your stuff. Which is why DeFi, in my opinion, is much better than CeFi. Own your goods. Don't lend or lease them. Alright, but this is a list of all of the centralized exchanges where you could buy Fantom theoretically and also offboard that onto the Fantom chain. At least this was an updated list semi-recently. I don't know if any of these have changed their protocols or their preferences, but let's look at Kucoin as an example. So on Kucoin, if you click on withdraw, and then you select Fantom, assuming you have bought Fantom with USDT or whatever other coins they allow you to buy Fantom with. You'll click on Fantom, you'll put in your MetaMask wallet address. In my case, I don't mind doxing my address. It's an address. Then you select the Fantom network. This is essential that you select the Fantom network. If you select the ERC network, you're going to send that Fantom to the Ethereum blockchain, and it's going to cost you a bunch of money to try to get it off. Fantom is useless on the Ethereum blockchain. You want FTM Fantom, not ERC20 Fantom. Terrible mistake to make. So keep it on FTM, and then however much you want. I believe currently the minimum amount for Kucoin is 50 that you have to send off, and you'll have a fee of 1 Fantom. So 1/50th is not too bad. And if you send more, also not bad at all, right? You don't need any remarks, you can confirm, and it'll send it on its way. And that's basically the same as what you'll do with the other exchanges. You'll make sure your network is FTM, you don't want to send ERC20, you'll send it over, and you'll be good. Now let's say you want to bridge Fantom to bridge, you want to bridge funds to Fantom for the very first time. One of the things that's recommended is that you never bridge Fantom across to the Fantom network. I know that sounds ridiculous, but the reason is because there just isn't a lot of Fantom available to be bridged on, and one of the only ways to get Fantom onto the Fantom network is through AnySwap, and AnySwap doesn't always have the available Fantom for you, so it may take 1 to 2 days. So instead, what I recommend doing is using Elk Swap. Now, I did a video with Elk Swap earlier today. It's super easy. All you have to do is, from whatever chain you're on, buy some elk, buy at least one elk, one or more elk, go over to ElkNet, check this little box, max the amount of elk you're going to send, it has to be at least one, and then send it to the Fantom chain. You'll find the Fantom chain here. I'm on the Fantom so it doesn't show up, but you'll find the Fantom chain here. You send it over, it'll arrive in your Fantom wallet with a tiny bit of Fantom for gas. Immediately go to swap, and then swap the remaining elk for Fantom. That way, you got Fantom on your wallet, you're ready to go. Because from there, you can actually start sending and onboarding a lot of funds through AnySwap. Now, my recommendation is Magical Internet Money, because Magical Internet Money is usually really quick and usually very liquid. So if you send it from any chain to Fantom, even in very large amounts, it should go through relatively easily and relatively quickly. It has been the case where I've tried sending USDC less than 5 figures, and it hasn't gone through because there just wasn't enough USDC available on, I believe, the Fantom side. So Magical Internet Money has consistently been the best and easiest and fastest, but that's just my own personal experiences. With AnySwap, you will have to do like an approval first, and then a swap, and after the approval sometimes it takes a while to load, so I would just click refresh, and then you'll have the option here to swap. Swap just means send. And there you go, then you'll have funds on the Fantom chain. You'll be ready to go. So let's go back over here. So we've talked about onboarding with centralized exchanges, we've talked about using Elk Swap to get Fantom gas onto your wallet, and then using AnySwap to bridge what I recommend stablecoins into your wallet. Now let's talk about their scanner. So a scanner is something that reads transactions, coins, and wallets, and sort of tells you about those things on the Fantom network specifically. When you bridge coins over, like USDC or DAI or Magical Internet Money, they may not show in your wallet because your wallet doesn't have those tokens added. Many people make the mistake of searching those coins on like CoinGecko and then trying to add the Ethereum address to their Fantom wallet, and it'll show you a zero balance, which can freak a lot of people out. So what you want to do is make sure that on Fantom Scan you're adding the Fantom address. So at the bottom here where it says import tokens, let's say we want to import Magical Internet Money, for example, MIM. We'll type in MIM. We'll see Magical Internet Money. Always choose the one with the icon and the check, the blue check, kind of like Twitter. They don't always have blue checks, but look for the icon. And also look at the number of addresses, right? If the number of addresses is less than 1,000, probably not the right coin, probably a fake or copy. So here we have over 6,000 addresses, over 1 million transfers. This is definitely the right one. And it's got the check. So you'll copy that address. You'll go down to assets, you'll click import tokens, you'll paste the address. This will say MIM, this will say 0 or 16 or something like that. You'll click add custom token, and then the token will show up in your wallet, as well as however much balance you may have bridged over. Okay, great, fantastic. So that's the scanner. You can use this for, again, transactions, looking at your own wallet, and looking up coins on this network. And I highly recommend, if you ever have a coin that you're pretty sure is on your wallet but you don't see it, then you can use Fantom Scan to get that coin's address and add it. If you want to see whether or not you actually have it on your address, well, Debank is always a really good resource. I'm kind of getting off topic here, but you paste in your address here, and it'll tell you all the assets you have on all the networks those assets exist. So if you're unsure whether or not your assets made it or arrived on the chain that you sent it to, just go to Debank, paste your address here, and you'll be able to see where your assets are, even if you can't see them in your wallet. All right, let's go through the top protocols. So DeFi Llama is not actually a protocol; it's just a resource, and this will this will show you all of the top protocols on the Fantom chain. So if you go over to DeFi Llama and Fantom, or you can click chains and then click Fantom, but what you'll see is all of the top protocols on the Fantom chain by TVL. Total volume locked, even though locked is sort of a misnomer, but that's just the term or phrase or acronym that we use. So there are a lot of these protocols that are on multiple chains, but the ones that I find most interesting are the ones that are only Fantom, the ones that are sort of like the proprietary or Fantom only protocols, like Geist and Spooky and Tomb and Scream. And so we're going to look at a few of these. We're also going to look at a few that are multi-chain, but we're going to look at a few of the big ones on here. So I sort of want to get you, this is the point where we're just looking at the Fantom ecosystem. So at this point, we've bridged our funds either from a decentralized chain like Avalanche or Polygon or Ethereum using Elk Swap or AnySwap, and we used a centralized exchange like Kucoin or Binance to send Fantom onto our wallet, and we're ready to go. So now we just need some protocols to play with. This is a great place to look at the most successful protocols on the chain because one, they're less likely to be fraudulent, and two, they're clearly trusted by the Fantom community, and three, if people are investing a lot of money in them, there's probably a reason why. Now, it's great to see something that's like up and coming, Synapse is doing good for other reasons, but like, we see Hector DAO's doing pretty good, we see Spartacus has a 5% increase in the past, I think that's 7 days. There's another one that was like a 60 something earlier, Ola Finance. So, it's a good place to check out protocols. Now let's get into it. So these are the protocols that I've listed, and I've sort of listed their names and sort of what they do. So Geist is lending and borrowing. It's an Aave clone. So if you know Aave, then Geist is going to be super familiar to you. If you go over to deposit, you can sort of deposit funds that will be used for lending. So the APYs are pretty low here, but by all means, if this is what you want to do, you can go ahead and do that. You can borrow as well if you want to borrow. There's also Geist that you can use. It's a coin, but to me, it's kind of like a farm coin, and I want no exposure to farm coins if I can help it. There's other aspects of this protocol as well, but I'll let you sort of uncover those as you explore it on your own. The next one we're going to look at is Yearn. So Yearn, it has automated yield farming strategies, which are really cool. If you've ever used Abracadabra or a number of other protocols and you've seen like the YV Ethereum or YV Wrapped Fantom or YV whatever, those are tokens you get as receipts for putting your tokens into Yearn. So you put tokens into Yearn, and Yearn then uses, let me refresh, Yearn then uses, go to Vaults, uses those tokens for various different farming strategies, and it bears an interest for Yearn, and they give you a portion of their earnings as APY. Now the Wrapped Fantom is woefully underperforming in my opinion. I think that I could definitely get a better APY than 0.16% on my own, so I wouldn't necessarily use this one. But the DAI, this is pretty compelling. 12% APY on a stablecoin on a chain? Cool. So what you would do is you'd come here with your DAI, you would deposit it, and you would in return get Yearn Vault DAI, YV DAI. Now in some cases, you might be able to use that Yearn Vault DAI as collateral and borrow against it. So you have this Yearn Vault DAI that is increasing in value. It's an interest-bearing token, increasing in value intrinsically by 12.64% per year. You can use that and collateralize it, so you're still making the interest, the 12.64%, and borrow against it while you're making that interest, and do whatever you want with what you borrowed. Some people might loop that, so buy more DAI, add it to Yearn, increase their total APY. There's a whole bunch of different fun strategies that you could potentially do. If you wanted to attempt to do that, you have to be really quick with the one that I know right now is My Finance. If you go to Vaults, you'll see that they do have a Yearn vault for DAI, but I have never seen any MAI in it because clearly it's super popular because it's a stable coin that if you looped into it, you could get something like 30 to even 50, maybe even 60% APY on stable coins, which is, people are definitely going to try to do that all the time. So unfortunately, I have never seen any MAI in here. MAI is a stable coin, by the way, to borrow, but that is where you would do it if you could do it. All right, let's keep moving. So Geist, lending and borrowing, Yearn, automated yield farming strategies that give you interest-bearing tokens, interest-bearing YV tokens while you're utilizing the protocol. The next one is Tomb. Tomb is one of the most successful protocols on Fantom. It's really neat, and it's headed by Harry Ye, and he is a billionaire, sort of a crypto eccentric. Do I have him here on, this is Fantom Foundation. So Harry Ye, he's all about his Tomb finance. Good for him. But you know, his Twitter is actually pretty good to follow if you want Tomb finance news. But of course, you can also just go to Tomb Finance. Anyways, Tomb Finance, I did a whole video on this, but Tomb Finance is basically a protocol that tries to make a coin that has the same value as Fantom. Fantom being the proprietary gas token of the Fantom network. And basically, like super basically, I'm not going to go over all the details in the video again, you can earn buku APR or APY off of this protocol by staking like Fantom Tomb liquidity pairs or Fantom T-share liquidity pairs or just T-share. And I think that the APYs range from like 800% to 10,000%, which is really, really good, especially if you're bullish on Fantom, because Tomb is going to have a value very close to Fantom at all times unless it depegs for some reason. So this has been a wildly successful protocol for virtually any investor who has partook. So there you go. Tomb. I call it a mirror coin because I don't want to call it a stable coin. It's not like a USDC stable coin, but I call it a mirror coin. So Taro is the next one we're going to look at. This is a leveraged farm. What that means is you can reap the benefits of much more assets than you have. So let's say you have $100 of assets and you leverage that up like 3x. So then now you have $300 of assets that you can get yield off of, that APR, APY off of, even though you only hold the $100 of assets. So that sounds kind of crazy. Let's look at it. So here's an example. Let's look at one that's probably pretty interesting. Bitcoin, Ethereum. This is definitely a compelling pair. So people like Bitcoin, they like Ethereum. They want to hold it for a long time. That what they could do is take their Bitcoin and Ethereum onto the Fantom chain, create the LP on Spooky Swap, and then leverage that up 3x to get a total of 20% APR, which would be even more APY if you compound the Taro coin into this. Some other interesting pairs, like if you're bullish on Fantom, USDC Fantom, or Fantom DAI, we're looking at 200% APR, even more APY. So basically what happens here is you deposit yours, you leverage it up by 3 times, so effectively you're getting 3 times the APR reward. However, you're also paying a borrow fee. So you're not going to get a full 3 times the APR, but you are going to get substantially higher APR than you would have just staking. So this is a pretty cool place to be, leverage farming, but you really do have to understand the liquidation risks associated. So I do have a video on Taro. Ftm Alerts has a video on Taro. I'd be surprised if Taiki doesn't have a video on Taro. DonQR might have a video on Taro. All of these individuals are trustworthy people in the YouTube space. But you know, you can always look at my video on Taro. I think back then I had a much worse camera and much worse microphone, so bear with it. But let's continue on. So Spooky and Spirit Swap, these are 2 swaps. A swap is just basically a place where you can exchange coins, but they do a lot more than that too. This is where you'll create your liquidity pool tokens. You can also farm here, though I would never farm anywhere except for an auto compounder, because that's just my thing. That's just what I do. I like to never expose myself to farm tokens if I can help it. They also have bridges, but if you use Elk Swap in any swap, then there's really never a reason to bridge, though I have heard that using Spirit Swap maybe, or maybe Spooky Swap, if you bridge over Fantom, or if you bridge over assets, they'll give you a little bit of Fantom. I can neither confirm nor deny this, but these are two of the biggest, or the two biggest, decentralized exchanges on the Fantom chain. So Spooky Swap, right here. A lot of the lesser known tokens, okay, you'll trade them here. And then Spirit Swap, you can see bridge right there. Let me close out of these just so my poor browser doesn't die on me. Okay, so you can see all the things you can do here, which is pretty interesting. They even have lending and borrowing here. You can look at your own portfolio. You can add liquidity, is doing like LP adding, but swapping and bridging, these are the major two things. Okay. The next one I wanted to show you is OpenOcean. Again, I do have a video on this, but OpenOcean is a decentralized exchange aggregator. What that means is you can swap on OpenOcean, and when you swap, it's going to attempt to find the absolute best route for that swap. Now, especially if you're swapping stable to stable, I highly recommend using OpenOcean. Stable to stable, you get the best, at least in my experience, the best rates, and it can save you lots of money. So OpenOcean, all it does is it looks for the best possible route through all the different exchanges to swap your coins, and it does it quickly and seamlessly, and very frequently you get the best rates here and you save money. So if you're swapping, especially large amounts, highly recommend OpenOcean. You can also find OpenOcean on multiple other chains. It's not just on Fantom, but Fantom is where I personally use it the most, because I find it the most effective here. Alright, so that's OpenOcean. It's a swapped optimizer. And then let's look at some Ohm Forks, right? Every chain needs its Ohm Forks. This one has multiple, but there are three major ones by TVL, actually in ascending order. So I believe Exodia has the least, Spartacus is in the middle, and Hector's at the top. But that doesn't mean, TVL doesn't necessarily equate to better or best. But, Exodia, there you go. It's an Ohm Fork. Spartacus, down. By the time you guys watch this video, Spartacadabra, which is a clone or fork of Abracadabra, will have launched, which is super exciting. So you'll be able to go on Spartacadabra, take your staked SPA, collateralize it, and borrow Lambda against it, which is their stablecoin, and then buy more Spartacus, stake it, get more SPA, and just loop this process and really crank up this APY to hundreds of thousands of percents more. So I'm interested to see what's going to happen to SPA. If I had a lot more money, I may even take a calculated risk, a bet on some price action on SPA, thinking that all of the Lambda coins that are going to be minted as stable coins are going to be used to purchase SPA for this strategy, which should have a positive price impact on SPA. But I would never do that with my whole portfolio. I would do that with a small, high-risk percentage. No financial advice, but if you're gonna make bets, you do small portions of your portfolio, not, don't ape into stuff. Hector DAO is the other one. They did the cool thing with the 4-4. I have a whole video on that, but this is the highest market cap Ohm fork on the Fantom chain. They have some interesting bonding mechanisms where instead of rewarding you in the token, they reward you in the staked token. So it's collecting all of the rebases, the full amount's collecting all of the rebases over 4 days, which is really interesting. All right, so that's Ohm Forks. Now there's two things left. We've already talked about my finance. So Auto compounders. I've done videos on auto compounders and yield aggregators. So if you want to find those, you can just type in the calculator guy Reaper, the calculator guy Grim, Beefy, whatever it is. These are some of my favorite protocols because what they allow you to do is farm APY instead of APR, while also not exposing yourself to these farm tokens, which typically trend towards $0 in worthlessness. So if you go to Reaper, you can look at all these really nice APRs and APYs. Now, some of my favorite, ooh, look at this one, the Solana Sonata. 131% APY. That's pretty good. Fantom, USDC, and Solana. That's a winning triplet. This is Beethoven, yeah, Beethoven X. So Beethoven X is another really cool protocol on here. They make these interesting, like, quadruplets or triplets, or even quintuplets, I think. And you can have this cool liquidity pair that's making you, that's hopefully making you money. But you can also, so you'll choose your farm or choose your token, whatever it is. We're gonna look at Liquid Driver. Liquid Driver, another interesting protocol. I just don't have time to show you all of them. But Liquid Driver essentially offers additional incentives on already incentivized farms. And so Reaper or Grim, they will compound the incentivized farms from Liquid Driver. And so generally you can get some pretty good APY here. And Liquid Driver is trusted, so no real issues there. And also I find that Reaper generally, not always, but generally has the most mathematically accurate APY projections, and I also like just the way it looks. So you can look at all of these. Fantom USDT looking at 147% with no leverage involved and no work, so you don't have to do any compounding. So this is really good, right? If you like Fantom, some of these are just great opportunities. Though none of them beat Tomb right now. If you're worried about a depegging event for Tomb, then this would be a definite second best place to come farm Fantom. Okay, unless you think Fantom's going to do multiple X's and you're scared of impermanent loss. But so Grim is the same thing, but just looks different. Grim is a Beefy clone, so you're going to notice it looks a lot like Beefy. You can choose your platform here, choose your asset here. You can look at stables here. I like the fact that you can look at stable LPs here, so you can sort of see where the best stable coins are. But one thing you really want to watch out for are deposit fees, because deposit fees can absolutely wreck you, and you want to avoid getting wrecked, right? We always want to avoid getting wrecked. So the deposit fee is 2.4% on a 14.7 APY. No, it's a terrible idea. You won't make that 2.4% back for months. Not worth the 14.7 APY, which probably won't even be that high in months. So if I see anything with a deposit fee, I'm almost immediately turned off of it, unless I'm getting in day one with multiple tens of thousands of percent APY, and I can probably make that fee back in 2 days, 2 days to 5 days. And then everything after that is profit. All right, finally, last protocol we're looking at is My Finance. So this is very much like Abracadabra. They utilize collateral to print My tokens. So all the My tokens are backed by collateral. These are all the vaults that exist on the Fantom chain. The most interesting ones, in my opinion, are the ones like Moo Scream or Moo Boo or Urine Vault, because these are interest-bearing tokens. So effectively, you're getting these interest-bearing tokens or interest-bearing LP tokens, and you can use them as collateral and borrow against them. So you're getting interest on them while they're here. And in fact, these ones are being auto-compounded and auto-yield compounded on Beefy, which is super freaking cool. And then you can borrow against them. So, and then you can loop it or do it, whatever strategies you're into. So I think that's it's neat as far as I'm concerned, especially with like BTC Fantom or ETH Fantom if you're bullish on those, if you're bullish on all of those coins. And look, there's even available MIM to borrow. So that's really cool. All right, that sort of wraps it up for the protocols. The last thing I want to do is talk about like some Twitter influencers that you can follow related to Fantom. There's Ftm Alerts. Also follow them on YouTube. So you know what? I'm going to throw Taiki on here. He's not like a Fantom person, but I'll just say Taiki Meta. It's not fair. If I'm going to throw Taiki, I should also throw like Donku and all of the other people who sort of like are in this space. But Ftm Alerts, this is Austin, and Ftm Alerts, they do a lot of Fantom news, like all Fantom news, and they're on top of like the ongoings of the protocols and everything that's happening in the Fantom space. Harrier is the again the guy who's in charge of Tomb, which is one of the most successful protocols, and also a billionaire in the space, and a bit of an influencer. Fantom Chain Official is just the Twitter for the Fantom Chain, and then the Fantom Ecologist is just another Fantom-centered Twitter. So this guide should get you into Fantom, should get you comfortable in Fantom, and should get you going. There is much more to discover, much more to explore on the Fantom blockchain, but if you've watched this full video now, and you know how to get your Fantom onto the blockchain, you know which protocols you're now interested in, then I think you're going to have a great time, because it's a cool blockchain and there's a lot of stuff happening. None of this, I must repeat, is financial advice. I did not and do not recommend I will not say any of these are great investments, and I will not say any of these are bad investments. That's not my place. My place is simply to expose you to protocols and show you how to utilize them. That's it. So please do your own research for all of these. If you want more information, more tools, more everything, you can join my Patreon, link in the description. All my videos are released there early, and then they go through this process. There's a tiny bit of editing, and then there's like a thumbnail thing, and all the what do they call these things? Chapters are broken up, and they're posted like a day later. So if you want early access to all my videos, you can join my Patreon and find them there. You'll also have access to me. I answer all questions on Patreon within 24 to 48 hours. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy the chain, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a wonderful rest of your day.